Hey friend, welcome. It's Michaela, but you can call me Mac. Today I have a reading journal update for you. I'm going to be creating a DNF spread for all of the books that I do not finish this year because, if I'm not really feeling a book, I don't want to keep reading it. Let's just jump right into this video. So, inspired by one of my favorite movies, Mean Girls, I decided to create a DNF book that's a nod to the iconic burn book from the movie. To be honest, when I was looking for inspiration on Pinterest and looking at other YouTube videos, a lot of people did like graveyard kind of spreads for their DNFs, which it's a cute idea, but I think it's a bit harsh, no? Like, I don't know. But then again, is it any nicer for me to be a catty mean girl and absolutely read these books to filth in this burn book? Probably not. It's probably not any nicer, but this is the best idea I could come up with. Anyway, so in the back of my reading journal, I'm creating like a book within a book. So I used my cutting mat, a ruler, and my X-Acto knife to trim off the excess paper in order to create these pages. Then I'm going to take some pink paper to craft the cover of the book. So for the cover, I printed out these letters that spell out DNF book that I'm going to tape right on the front, and then lastly I'm just going to add some doodles to give it that iconic burn book look. Now, if you know me, friend, you know I rarely DNF books. I'm usually that person that will power through to the end even if I'm not vibing with the story. But this year, I made myself a promise to prioritize books that truly captivate me and not waste any time on ones that don't. So, the first book that I'm DNFing this year was kind of a surprise to me. It was one of my 5-star predictions of the year, and I've just heard such high praise for it, but sometimes a book just doesn't click, you know? Anyway, Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. Yeah, I just could not get into this one. Here's a quick synopsis of what this book is about. She is a beautiful, affluent, self-involved, and mildly neurotic London socialite. He is Britain's most photographed bad boy, Lothario, who broke her heart. But Magnolia Parks and BJ Ballantyne are meant to be, and everyone knows it. They're just in the stars, just suspended in a strange kind of love that looks like hurting each other a lot of the time. She dates other people to keep him at bay. He sleeps with other girls to get back at her for it. But at the end of every sad endeavor to get over one another, it's still each other they end up crawling back to. But their dysfunction is catching up with them, pulling at their seams and fraying the world they've built, a world where neither has ever let the other go completely. As the cracks start to show and secrets begin to surface, Magnolia and BJ are finally forced to face the formidable question they've been avoiding all their lives. How many loves do you really get in a lifetime? Okay, so I made it about 53% of the way through this book before I decided to DNF. Now, don't get me wrong, I can see why people might enjoy this book, and Storygraph actually says this is a good fit for readers who enjoy stories about two people navigating a toxic and complicated romance while also exploring the themes of found family and personal growth. Again, I've only made it through 50% of the book, but found family and personal growth I feel like are a stretch for this. You're literally reading about spoiled rich kids, a toxic relationship that's in this like constant cycle of drama. I didn't like any of the characters. I didn't really care what was gonna happen to any of them. The writing style was quite unique. It felt like you were sitting at brunch with Magnolia and she was just telling you about what's going on in her life. Mind you, I also listened to the audiobook version. I didn't actually physically read it. And I feel like if I physically read it, I would like it even less. I probably would have stopped it a little bit sooner because you do have this dual point of view between the narrator for Magnolia and the narrator for BJ. And so that brought a little bit of interest to the story. But overall, I just really could not get into it. They were so toxic to one another. They did not need to be with each other. The little games that they were playing, again, I can kind of get the appeal of like people reading about other people's like messy, dramatic lives, but I've read other books that did this a little bit better. Like, for example, last year I read this book called The Hotel Nantucket, and you get these like just like a kind of a glimpse into all these different characters' lives. People have drama, people have messy things going on, but it doesn't feel overly toxic and unrelatable. Again, you're reading about spoiled rich kids with the most messiest drama and the messiest of messy lives. So for the burn book page, I have the sticker of the cover of the book, and I also have this couple who kind of remind me of Magnolia and BJ. And you know, now that I'm looking at this, I'm so sorry to this couple, and I really hope that you are thriving, because I definitely called you toxic in this page. Anyway, I just wrote a little note, a couple of notes here on the page to give that feel that like, Regina George may like wrote this in a book or something like that. You know what I mean? Anyway, this is how the page turned out. I kind of like it. I think it's simple. I'm hoping it's not like too harsh or too mean, but I do want to have a place in my journal to track the books that I don't finish, especially because I made it halfway through this book. And although I'm not going to count it like towards my end year, reading numbers, but I still want to like highlight the fact that I read a little bit of it at least. I have enough space in here for 7 more books, so fingers crossed I don't have to DNF anymore, but if we do, at least we have space for it. And I'm also just updating my 30 before 30 page of 30 books I want to read before my 30th birthday in October. Again, this was one of my 5-star predictions, but now I have to list it as DNF. Oh well, they all can't be hits, I guess. All right, friend, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. Check out the video right here on the left-hand side of the screen to see all of the books I read in March, and I will see you over there. Bye.